Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the JEB In FLOW podcast. I am Jeb. This is the podcast on the Street Parking Podcast channel. Good to have you here with us. I've got a fun one for you today. So let's get right into it. Don't you think it's weird that we as human beings have this sense that we are super advanced and super intelligent and so much further evolved beyond all the other animals in the world, yet we still judge each other and judge ourselves based on purely visual standards, at least initially. I don't know. I just think that's kind of weird. And I'll tell you why I think it's weird. Because you don't even know what you look like. You don't. There's no possible way for you to know. If you look in a mirror, you are seeing a reflection of yourself. Your right hand is your left hand in your reflection. Everything is reversed. So you're not actually seeing yourself. And when you see a picture of yourself, that is what the camera sensor captured in that moment. It's largely dependent on lighting, focus, the depth. There's so many things. A very extreme example would be, what if somebody took a picture of you in a dark room without a flash? Well, technically that's a picture of you, but you couldn't see it. And remember old school, before digital cameras, when you take pictures of people and they all had red eyes? Well, I have plenty of pictures of me with red eyes, and I don't have red eyes. I'm pretty sure I don't have red eyes, but I don't really know. Maybe I do. How do you know that the brown hue that you see is the same thing that someone else sees? You don't. So you don't actually know what you look like. And you don't know what other people see when they see you. And under the surface, what people know of you is largely dependent on what you have allowed them to know of you. So someone's knowledge of you as a person, of yourself, versus your own knowledge of yourself, versus your true self, because your own knowledge of yourself is largely based on maybe your experiences, maybe what other people have told you, maybe, who knows, things that are largely external, like we talked about last week. So your true self is, in a lot of ways, very unknown to the world and to other people. So when someone else sees you, what is it that they see? I've heard that up to 95% of communication is nonverbal. It's based on body language. So the way that you move, the way that you carry yourself, the posture that you have, the way that you, have little quirks and twitches and mannerisms, all communicates things without you having to say anything. And how does anyone really know you if they can't be inside your head thinking the same thoughts that you're thinking, or organizing the same information that you're receiving in the way that you are organizing it? So visually, which is, kind of our dominant sense, we have this body, and this body is a physical representation of ourself, but our body is not ourself. Beyond a certain point, your body could be a reflection of yourself. If there's chaos going on with yourself, then your body can express that chaos in the form of sickness, in the form of, your blood pressure, your hormone levels, weight gain, weight loss, all that sort of thing. But for the most part, let's say the chaos hasn't gotten to this, unmanageable level. Your body does not necessarily reflect who you are inside. Body is just the body. So, for example, I'm Jeb, right? That's the name they gave me. Well, what part of my body is me? If I took my arm away, am I still Jeb? Yes. I took my feet away. Am I still Jeb? Yes. If somehow I, pulled a John Travolta face off, right? I'm still me. I'm still me. So where is the Jeb gene? Where is the Jeb molecule? The great philosopher Tyler Durden in Fight Club said, we're all part of the same decaying organic matter like everybody else. We're all made up of the same stuff. So where is it in all of that stuff that is you? If it's not the physical, where is it? Is it all of your experiences? The summation of everything that's ever happened to you? Perhaps. But a lot of times you could have one experience and someone else could have the same experience, but how that experience affects you and influences who you become or how yourself sort of is manifested through that can be very different. So who are you? Where is that person? Where is that self? A lot of times we identify even with things that are not our physical body, but they're even further out, like cars and houses and clothing. There's this fashion designer in Los Angeles, and his name is Bijan. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. But he has a store like in Beverly Hills, Rodeo Drive, that kind of deal. And his color is yellow. On the billboards through LA, they're all yellow. Bijan, right? These nice suits. This guy drives a Rolls-Royce Phantom, and it's bright yellow. So everything's yellow. And if you're driving through Beverly Hills and you see a bright yellow Phantom, oh, that's Bijan. So his identity is now this car. That's part of like who he is to everyone around in the external realm, right? The external world. But again, it's just a material representation of, some part of this guy that designs clothes, but that's not him. That's a car. I don't know what that dude's deal is. And I certainly can't afford any of his clothes. So the self, who you are deep down, below the skin, under all of the decaying organic matter, that is some representation of all of the pieces of your consciousness. Consciousness, as we've defined it, as the intentional ordering of information. So all of the ways that you have ordered information throughout your entire existence, that is represented by the self. What does that look like? So we're going to keep it short this week because I've got a big action item for you. And I really hope that you guys will share what you come up with on this. So the action item for this week is to create a representation of yourself, a self-portrait, if you will, but it doesn't even have to be a portrait. It doesn't even have to be drawn. It could be a sculpture. It could be sounds. But create some representation of yourself without incorporating any of your physical attributes or any of your material possessions. How are you going to do that? Think about it. It's a challenge. That's, a given. It's going to be difficult. But think about that. And even if you don't actually come up with anything, if you had to do that, where would you even start? How would you represent yourself to the rest of the world if you could not show any of your physical attributes or any of your material possessions? Who are you? The second part to this action item, the super duper bonus part, is to get a loved one, somebody that you feel knows you, cares about you, loves you, or not, but somebody that knows you, to do the same thing. Have them try to come up with some sort of representation of who you are without using any of your physical attributes or any of your material possessions. And chances are, who knows, maybe you guys will come up with the same thing, but chances are, because only you know what's going on or contextualize what's going on internally, that how you see yourself is very different from how other people see you. On a physical level, and perhaps even on a much, much deeper level. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something I find to be very interesting and something that I think we should be reminding ourselves of consistently. So, draw, paint, sculpt, glue some stuff together, record some sounds, whatever it happens to be. Come up with some kind of representation of yourself without any of your physical attributes, any of your material possessions, and then have somebody that knows you, somebody that's close to you, do the same thing. Come up with some kind of a representation of who you are. And take a look at those two things and have fun with it, because I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And I'll share with you what I come up with. We're going to call it there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a really great week. Have so much fun with this action item. I really hope you do it. I love you, and I will talk to you soon.